Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. The Ohio State University received over $330,000 from Jeffrey Epstein. Now, for transparency purposes, I have to just come out and let you all know that I am very biased against Ohio State University. I don't like the school, I don't like the football program, and I just don't like anything about that university. So, I'm going to try and check my bias as we go through this story, but it's going to be hard for me not to pile on considering the absolute and utter dislike I have for that program and that school as a whole. So, this article today is from the Daily Mail, and this article was written by the Associated Press and Marlene Lenthing for DailyMail.com. The headline, Jeffrey Epstein is tied to $336,000 in donations to Ohio State University, prompting school to pledge equal contribution to human trafficking charity following the disgraced financier pedophile's death. Not good enough for me. Not good enough for me, just like it's not good enough with the Santa Fe Institute, right? Now that we have Denise George bringing up RICO, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it a little bit more, right? Let's hope that the rest of the people who are following the case, who might not have jumped onto the RICO bandwagon yet, let's hope that they're getting their feet wet and they're going to talk about it, because this is a huge aspect of the case, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. If we can get the RICO charges slapped on these people, and I don't care which attorney general does it, folks, all right? Whoever does it is going to be a hero. So if they're listening to the podcast, you're going to be a hero if you slap these charges on all of these people involved. If you do a RICO case, if you turn this into a RICO case, and you really put in the work and the time, and you put the right kind of pressure on these people, I am telling you right now, this whole entire thing will crumble around their ears. They aren't built for this life. These aren't hardened criminals. These aren't people that can stare down 20, 30 years and laugh at you about it because they know their family's going to be taken care of by the organization. This organization that we're talking about now does not have that kind of pull anymore. They've seen their best day. They've seen their pinnacle. We're talking about just random people now who were involved in this organization who are no longer protected by their man, Jeffrey Epstein. And we see the panic with Ghislaine Maxwell. We see how the core four have just basically fallen away from society and they're no longer around. It's because they all know what's coming. The dogs of war are going to be unleashed on them if this becomes a RICO case. And places like Ohio State and the Santa Fe Institute, who received money from Jeffrey Epstein, well, all of this money is going to have to be tracked now. If it's a RICO case, then we need to know where all of these funds originated and then where they were dispersed to. We're going to need receipts. We're going to need IRS statements, etc., etc. And if even one thing is out of place, time for indictments. Because, you see, these people have been given the benefit of the doubt. They have been given all sorts of protections that weren't necessary. They were given all sorts of different sorts of ways out of this indictment, ways out of being involved in this case, and that needs to end. And the RICO charge is the most powerful weapon in the arsenal for a prosecutor. It's like when the Federal Reserve pulls out the bazooka and fires $6 trillion of liquidity into the market. We're talking, this is a big deal, folks. If she goes the route that she's talking about, Denise George, and she scoops Berman, and she's the one who puts these RICO charges into place, boy, I'll tell you what, that is going to send shockwaves through the judicial system, knowing that some backwater attorney general has the courage and the fortitude to go forward with a RICO case against these people, while Berman, who is from the most powerful section of the federal government almost, at the SDNY, is still dragging his feet and is still scared to go after these people. Well, I'll tell you what, the word RICO is definitely the kind of word that has all of these folks' heads ringing. Disgraced financier, pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein has been tied to $336,000 in donations and pledges to the Ohio State University. A review board revealed on Thursday. So Ohio State needs to not only pony up all of this money, they're going to need to come out with a statement. They're going to need to really do some damage control because remember, they have their own issues going on with their wrestling department about wrestlers who were abused by a wrestling coach there. So Ohio State is waist deep involved with these sick ass people. All right? So Ohio State should no longer escape the scrutiny that MIT got or Harvard got, etc., etc. And also, their ties to the Wexners need to be explored further and scrutinized. I don't care about your internal reviews either. There needs to be an independent oversight committee to find out just how all of that money that was donated to Ohio State was made. Point blank, period. And the only way that's going to ever happen is with a RICO case. And then with that comes just swarms of G-men. You got federales all over the place when you start with the RICO. You'll have forensic accountants, you name it. And that's why it's so important, because it gives the prosecutor's office a real big gun with a lot of ammunition. And that's what you're going to need to take down people like this. You're going to need a huge boat, right? Like what they say in Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat. And that's what we're going to need here. We're going to need bigger charges. In light of the findings, the university has pledged to make a contribution of that same amount to a state human trafficking initiative. That's not good enough. I'm sorry, that's not good enough, okay? The same amount? How about you make a donation of the same amount of $336,000 to the Trafficking Foundation, but why don't you match that amount and put it towards whatever the survivors are going to get? Because basically what you're doing by taking money from Jeffrey Epstein is you're giving him more credibility, and you're just saying that what he did to these survivors doesn't matter. You're still going to take money from him, and the stink around him matters not. And that's gross to me. It's absolutely positively gross to me. And these organizations and these people who were enabling Jeffrey Epstein, they should also be sued civilly. And they should also have to pony up and throw into the pool that's going to go to these survivors when all is said and done. Because guess what? You people could have stopped it. You MFs should have had some courage and stood up and said, look, we want nothing to do with you people. And then a university like Ohio State to take the money from Jeffrey Epstein? It is gross. Everything about this offends my sensibilities. The pedophile millionaire died by suicide, allegedly, in his jail cell in August 2019 while awaiting trial for sex trafficking crimes. All donations from Epstein and the J. Epstein Foundation were given or pledged to the Wexner Center for the Arts throughout the 90s. And again, Les Wexner's name pops up. Look, I'm telling you right now, Les Wexner is an evil MF, man. What he did to Maria Farmer, I'll never forget that, and I'll never forgive. I will not stop until Les Wexner answers the questions that he needs to answer in this case. And I don't care if he's some powerful billionaire. I don't care who he is. The fact of the matter remains the same. His part in what happened to Maria Farmer cannot go unanswered. It cannot go forgotten, because Les Wexner and his wife Abigail Wexner are not good guys in this story, okay? They're just more billionaires who wrap themselves up in their charitable givings so that when the time comes for them to pay the piper, they can point to all the charity work they've done as to a reason why they shouldn't be brought up in front of the man. Well, that party never even got started here on this podcast. I don't believe in any of that shit, all right? Self-responsibility. One good deed does not wipe out the evil deeds that you have done. All right, you still have to face the man, you still have to face punishment, and you still have to face the harsh and hard questions. And if they don't come rolling fast and heavy after this has been exposed about Wexner and Epstein and their donations to Ohio State University, and if Ohio State doesn't start pulling the Wexners' names off of buildings, it just goes to show you how deep and how far the corruption goes and how disgusting the rot is. The Wexner Center is a campus museum bearing the family name of Ohio billionaire Leslie Wexner, who employed Epstein as his personal money manager in the late 1980s and ran an empire that included Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Bath & Body Works. And I'm happy to report, folks, that he had to step down from all of that. And do you know why? A, because of the survivors who have come out and been so courageous and who have stood shoulder to shoulder to tell these monsters no more. but B, because of all of you. All of your pressure, all of your outrage, all of your social media activity. That's the reason a guy like Wexner had to step down, because his company could not stand in the face of the pressure of you, the public. And remember that going forward, folks, because you are the most important part of all of this. You are the most important part of these survivors getting the justice they deserve. People like me, I just have a little bit of a platform here, right? Just a little piece of what's going on. And we get here together and we talk and we share information and we read through articles. And at the end of the day, I'm just one guy. It's about all of you. And I've said it from the beginning of this podcast. It's certainly not me. It is we. And the pressure that all of you are putting on these people, it's having an effect, folks. So don't get daunted, right? Don't be apathetic about things. What you're doing and the pressure you're putting on these people and the time you're spending on trying to get justice for these survivors is not going to waste. Look at what we have done so far. Look at what, as a whole, the people who were searching for justice in this case, look at what we have accomplished in just a small amount of time. Prince Andrew, out of royal life. Glenn Dubin, see you later, pal. Les Wexner, you're out of here. Joy Ito, see you, buddy. All the other fallout. Jess Staley on the ropes. So don't think that your pressure doesn't matter, because it does. And the more we pressure people to stand up and speak out against this sort of behavior, the more chance we're going to see of these people actually being arrested. And I'll tell you what, folks, I don't want to get too overly excited, right? Because, I don't do that here. I'm not a bullshit peddler. I'm not going to peddle you false senses of hope or anything like that, all right? I just call them how I see them. And I've said it a million times. I'm not an advocate. I'm not some social justice warrior. I'm not somebody here that's a believe all women guy. I'm not that person, right? What I am is a believe the evidence and follow the evidence person. And all roads lead to Les Wexner. Records reviewed by national accounting firm EY found Epstein had pledged and paid $260,000 throughout the 90s. Another document revealed a potential total of $335,000 in gifts, but the review failed to confirm if the university ever received the additional $75,000 Epstein had pledged. Oh, well, I'll tell you what I think. I'm sure they received it. It was probably a cash donation. You think there's receipts for that? You think it was, the IRS knew about that transaction? Or was it a Gucci bag dropped with $75,000 in it? We think Jeffrey Epstein was above that, was above protecting his money, protecting his name on where it was going to make sure that, he was able to maximize his influence from the shadows? Come on, folks, let's not be naive here. The university announced Thursday it would contribute $336,000 to the Ohio Attorney General's Human Trafficking Initiative. Not enough. Not even close to enough. Do better, Ohio State. Do better. You're charging people out of their ears to go to that university. You have plenty of dough on hand. The Ohio State University football program brings in loads of money for you. You mean to tell me all you could pony up after you were receiving money from these sick bastards is $336,000 measly dollars? Do better, the Ohio State University. That amount includes the $1,000 gift Epstein made to the Wexner Center's membership fund in 1990, which the university had already disclosed in July. An earlier review had found no evidence that Epstein's influenced the fiscal operations of Wexner's multi-million-dollar charitable foundation during their association, which I call BS, all right? I don't believe you, okay? I don't believe any of these companies that you hire to investigate yourselves, or we're going to have a review, an internal review about the way we conducted business. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's like having an 8th grader give himself his own grades. Give me a break already. It needs to be an independent oversight committee. All right? Both reviews were ordered after Epstein's arrest last year on federal sex trafficking charges. EY, the national accounting firm formerly known as Ernst & Young, examined Ohio State fundraising documents dating back to before 1980, real estate transactions, and treasury and investment records. That's funny. Ernst & Young was the same company that used to audit me when I worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. Funny how that all works, huh? Funny how it's such a small little circle. Funny how all these people know each other, isn't it? Its examiners were given access to historical documents maintained by the Wexner Center and the university's Office of Advancement, as well as to university archives, the school said in a statement. Sorry, I don't believe anything that Ernst & Young has to say. Anybody that was wrapped up with Lutnick over at Cantor Fitzgerald is somebody that I don't trust, because that company is absolutely the worst. That company is filled with criminals and crooks. I mean, that company is just the prototypical Wall Street firm, just filled with all sorts of just devious people. And the fact that we see Ohio State using Ernst & Young, it just cracks me up. It's just, you know what? This circle of theirs, they think that we're so stupid that we can't put the pieces together and we can't connect the dots. Well, I'm here to tell them that they're wrong. All the donations were made at least 2 decades ago, and many years before any questions about Epstein surfaced, the university said in a statement. Of course they did. Of course that's what the records are going to show. I mean, you don't have access to those records, right? Ohio State University, you can't get in there and fudge them or anything. I mean, you guys are way above that. You're just a very ethical university, so I could see how dare anybody think that you would be above something like that. Give me a break. However, the university has determined that in light of Epstein's reprehensible crimes, retaining these gifts would not be consistent with the university's values, the statement added. Oh yeah, Ohio State University just has so many values, and it's just such an upstanding place. Just the kind of place where I'd want to send my kid, so my kid can walk into a building every single day that has Wexner's name on it. That's exactly where I want to spend $100,000 to send my kid to school. Give me a break. Another gift potentially tied to Epstein that the university had disclosed in July turned out not to be. The review found the 2007 gift of $2.5 million from the COUQ Foundation, for which Epstein was the director and officer, originated from the Wexner Children's Trust and Leslie H. Wexner Charitable Fund, and not from Jeffrey Epstein. Oh yeah, okay, because that money wasn't moved illegally or laundered or washed. Just such a joke. I can't even believe that I'm sitting here and we still have to report on this, and the authorities aren't going hard after all of this stuff. I mean, haven't they ever seen the show The Wire? Get on them phones. Where's Detective McNulty when you need him, right? Where's Bunk? The gift supported a renovation of the university's Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Well, isn't that nice? I'm glad that the Woody Hayes Center got a nice rebranding and got renovated, because that's what's important in the world when all of these girls are being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, with your boy Wexner totally knowing what's going on, in my opinion. That's what's really important. Let's make sure we renovate the Woody Hayes Center. Wexner stepped down as L Brand's chairman and CEO after the sale of its flagship store, Victoria's Secret, in February. He has said Epstein misappropriated vast sums of money from the Wexner family, which we know is a lie. All right? Stop lying, Les Wexner. Stop lying, you old-ass, decrepit bastard. Go enjoy your retirement until the feds kick in your door, bro, because it's coming, okay? I am not going to stop crowing about your role in this Epstein situation until you have to answer some questions. Because Mr. Wexner, like I said earlier in this podcast, what happened to Maria Farmer will never, ever, ever be forgotten by me. The review found no evidence Ohio State had engaged in real estate, investments, or purchasing transactions with Epstein or his known affiliated entities. Wexner says he severed ties with Epstein 12 years ago. Both he and his wife Abigail have served as members of the Ohio State Board of Trustees. So Ohio State needs to get rid of them as trustees right away, because if they don't, then they're basically okay with it, right? They're vouching for the Wexners, and they're saying that the Wexners are good people, when we all know that that shit is wrong. We know that the Wexners are not good people. If you've been following this story and following this case, you all know that Les Wexner was the main man for Jeffrey Epstein when it came to money handling, when it came to Epstein being accepted by the other billionaires. That was all Les Wexner. And he has to answer for his role in all of this. And I don't care if he's a rich billionaire. I don't care if he's part of the mega group. I don't care if he just came down from heaven itself. This man must answer for what he has done. This man must answer for what his friend Jeffrey Epstein has done. And there should be no quarter given to any of these people. Let's break out the RICO statutes and let's get to work. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. You can also check out the newest podcast I started, COVID-19, the pandemic that changed everything. Episode 1 is now available, with Episode 2 coming out tomorrow morning. All right, folks, enjoy your day, and I will be back later on for the Daily Drop.